Air Marshal Chopra, I'll start with you. You're someone who actually holds the distinction of being, I think, the oldest pilot who's ejected from a fighter. So you know what it's like to actually escape from a fighter that has crashed. You've been in the cockpit, you've been behind a desk investigating crashes as well. So my opening question to you, sir, is how do you see this particular crash? It's the first crash of the LCA Tejas.
Shiv, I must say that LCA has been an outstanding aircraft. In 2002, I took over the aircraft systems and testing establishment.
Yes.
Watched the LCA's initial induction very, very closely and subsequently in service. Outstanding record, 8 years of operational service, 23 years of since first flight, first accident. And mind you, all programs in the world, F-35, we have lost more than 10. F-35, we have lost more than 4. The JF-70, some of them actually first flew after the LCA. So, outstanding record. Yes, military aviation has its own dynamics. We just saw the video. Since yesterday we are watching this. The aircraft is coming on finals. It's got its landing gear down, so it's coming on an approach. When you come on approach, the distance on the ground is less. So whatever has to happen, some technical failure, engine, whatever could have happened, the pilot had to, there's not enough time to restart at that time, and he is ejected. And very happy that, he is safe and minor injuries, but also nobody is injured on the ground. But I must mention, let's look at the aircraft itself. It has about 40 of them, as you said, are in service, but more than 50 have been produced. Some of them are being used for testing. More than 200 more will be inducting in a better variant 1A, which has already flown last year. So the aircraft has done international exercises, done various exercises in India. It's done air-to-air firing, it's done air-to-ground, multi-role, swing, wing capability has been shown recently, the Vayu Shakti, and it was right now flying, at an exercise. So outstanding record. Such things do happen. Yes, I must also mention the F-404 engine Gs. It's a tried, tested. It's flying on the F-18 variants. There are 4,000 of them on F-18 variants itself, and there are large numbers on many other, about 7-8 different other aircraft it's flying. So engine otherwise supposed to be very safe, but of course, even in a fully serviceable aircraft, something can go wrong, which will come out clearly in the court of inquiry. Incorrect for us to conjecture at this time, but only to say that it's a great aircraft, and we're looking forward to great years of LCA in the Indian Air Force.
Okay, thanks for that opening comment. Angad, same question to you. Obvious reasons why this particular accident has, drawn so much attention and, all the buzz on social media and beyond. How do you see this? When you heard about this crash, what was your first reaction and how are you reading it, Angad?
My first reaction, Shiv, was to predict exactly what you said.
Yeah.
That it's going to be, frankly, over-scrutinized, and people are going to sort of lose their minds a little bit over the fact that, it's happened to an LCA. And it's been this sort of painful push-pull saga with this aircraft for well over 20 years now. So it's only 23 years since it first flew. But, my instinctive reaction was to anticipate that sort of noise. But like the Air Marshal, I think it's it's premature to speculate on anything right now. And like your opening sequence said, that this is an inherently risky business. It could have been literally any other aircraft that went down on Tuesday, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
A single engine aircraft, MiG-21 could, if it eats a bird at low altitude, it's not going to make the runway, and the pilot would punch out. And we wouldn't be discussing it, in this manner. So
true. Yeah.
I don't see this as any sort of reflection of the capabilities of the aircraft or its inherent safety. The Air Force has announced an investigation, and they're going to go through probably for better. Not for worse. They're going to go through this with a pretty fine-tooth comb, and they're going to look at anything that could have caused this, including upstream factors beyond just what caused the crash, and that'll go into the sort of big book of learning, as it were. In military circles, there's a saying that SOPs are written in blood,
Yes.
And we should be glad that this one wasn't. It will go into future learning, and the pilot's safe, and there were no casualties on the ground. So I think, I mean, as crashes go, it's probably the best outcome.
Best outcome, no casualties, pilot safe is an incredible outcome. There's no doubt about that. Marshal Chopra, taking off from what Angad said, obviously whenever a crash happens, it's very rare that there is footage of those final moments. In this particular case, there's this small little mobile phone clip, showing you what happened. I imagine from a investigation perspective, that's very, very valuable, because it's very rare to have, visual, a visual element as far as what is happening. Here you can see the pilot ejecting, you can see the aircraft, you can see roughly what configuration it is in, the landing gear, etc. is down. Can you take us briefly, sir, through what an investigation actually entails? The forensic investigation, the interview with the pilots, etc. What are the steps that are taken to finally reach a conclusion? Because the reason why I want our viewers to know this is because there is this, apart from the scrutiny, there is this great hurry to speculate on what may have caused the crash based on very little, early information, sir.
Yeah, Shiv, see, nowadays, we are lucky or whatever you may say, social media is very active. Large number of people are taking pictures of approach in Delhi airport and in various other places. So you have a lot of people who are taking pictures. And we've seen many accidents, including the JF-17 in Pakistan, where the whole thing had been video recorded. So there is a lot of evidence, additional evidence, which comes very handy, as you rightly pointed out, that here is an aircraft on approach, it's going straight to the level, it is not in a maneuver, it's not spun into the ground, nothing like that has happened. So all that is very, very good. Secondly, big advantage is that the pilot is absolutely safe and normal, and he will be able to, by now, would have told a lot of information. And the third is that black box, the FDR, that is, would be safe because the large parts of the aircraft are looking visible, and therefore the FDR is safe. So actually what happens is immediately when an accident takes place, there is a flight safety directorate of the Air Force which gets into action. Immediately an advanced team of specialists who are specializing in aircraft investigation, they are sent immediately by air to the site. They quickly take charge of the materials on the ground, which have already been secured by the local police and the Air Force police, and they take pictures of everything. They take, some recordings they do with the eyewitnesses. They talk to a large number of people. So they quickly, build up evidence and information, because before the actual court of inquiry team gets established, which normally takes about 2 days, for them to come, somebody has already done a lot of homework on behalf of that, court of inquiry team. So a lot of information would already be known. If at all there was a problem with the engine, the pilot would have known. He would have had some indication. After all, he decided to eject in a straight and level flight. That means he obviously would know a lot about what's the state of the aircraft, and he would have told the initial investigation. But of course, there are hundreds of other parameters once you have to milk the FDR and etc. Then only can you finally establish the cause. And it's not only the cause. You have to then take calls on the remedial actions. Sometimes in the initial investigation, if you find that there's something critical for the rest of the fleet, you could then advise the Air Force to take necessary precautionary measures or do some checks on the other aircraft. So there is a process very well established all over the world, especially in Indian Air Force, ever since Indian Air Force was formed. So this is how the sequence of events will take place.